towards the end of my music career, as a real kind of last-ditch efforts, if you will, to promote my music, I started doing what a lot of musicians were doing at the same time. This is like the first time this kind of where promoting music was available, is I took to TikTok and Instagram Reels as a way of promoting myself, right? And I look back on this period of my life with sort of a bit of embarrassment, you know, like I haven't taken any of these things down because I don't like rubbing out past parts of yourself unless you really need to. But I do look back at these videos of me sort of promoting my music on TikTok, and I do cringe a bit. I think a bit of it is a bit fake, a bit forced, you know. And more importantly, it didn't really make any difference to you know the promotion of my music, and I thought it was all a bit of a cope. And after taking this decision to sort of stop doing music and pursue other paths in life, I always looked back at the bands that, you know, were my contemporaries, who were still doing this stuff on TikTok and you know, Instagram Reels and stuff, and I just sort of, you know, laughed to myself in a very sort of self-contented way. You know, look at these idiots who are still, you know, wasting their time on Instagram Reels. You know, instead of, you know, I thought kind of coping as well. And I still do think this to a large extent. And in fact, I made a video about ways to sort of become successful at music. And I really took the piss out of this sort of way of promoting yourself on Reels and stuff. And look, I stand by a lot of what I said. But it's funny, sort of. There is actually a lot to be said for just sheer consistency. Much as I don't like to admit it, you know, like I look at these bands who are still doing these reels and TikToks as a way of promoting themselves, and like, I'd be lying if they said they weren't building up some kind of a following from it. You know, like I look at the sort of reels that I see of these bands, these sort of indie bands who are trying to promote themselves, and like they are a bit cringe, they are selling themselves a bit, but they are getting followers from it. You know, they do have comments. You know, they are getting shares, and you know, I just gotta give it credit to them. You know, there is something to be said for just dogged consistency in what you're doing. You know, like that sort of thing about that Alex Hormozy talks a lot about, where, you know, this is what hard feels like, and you know, when it just gets really hard, that's when you've really got to double down. And it's weird because I kind of object to that, but you know, in some ways, but I do acknowledge in other ways that it does work. You know, just constant not giving up, you will get some result. You know. Now, let's not say I don't regret giving up music, because my life has got so much better since. But I do think, like, yeah, there's like, if I just kept doing the thing I was doing with my music, like, I would have got somewhere with it. Like, would it be the place I wanted to get to? You know, was it the place that I should have got to? Probably not. You know, all things happen for a reason. But yeah, there's just something to be said for just keeping at it no matter what, you know, no matter how piss poor quality, you know, your content is, or how you're promoting it is. You know, it's like this thing, it's an attention economy, and eventually people will pay attention if you just shove it down their throats enough time. Because that's basically all that anything is just who you can just shout the loudest, you know. You know, there are so many self-improvement YouTubers who are much the same kind of story as Hamza. The difference is he's just got so much content, you know. I'm sure there are millions of people who think the exact same thing as Mario Rios when it comes to bodybuilding and athleticism, but none of them have really just shoved down everyone's throat. You know, none of them have had the same sort of attack on that Mario Rios did on YouTube Shorts. You know, like when I first came across him, it was just bombarded. I was just bombarded by short, like these reels about him. You know, yeah. So it's funny. That doesn't mean you shouldn't optimize. I think, you know, that doesn't mean you shouldn't take a step back and reconsider what you're doing. It doesn't mean there are moments when it's better to just, you know, go another path or whatever. But yeah, there is something to be said for just dogged consistency, and I think it with these YouTube videos as well. You know, I mean, I'm not really thinking so much with I guess I am a bit. I'm not thinking entirely with just, oh, I need to get the videos out there so my subscriber count comes up. But you know, I do just post regularly because I know that is, you know, I enjoy making the videos, so it's kind of there's that as well. But I do know that it's just like the more you do it, the more results you get. And it's kind of hard to believe because, you know, it's just so simple. You know, it's not like anything I'm doing is that special. You know, I enjoy speaking. You know, obviously I'm talking about things that people relate to, but, you know, there's nothing magical to it. But, you know, even though it's a humble amount, you know, I've got 29 people subscribed to this account, and you know, that's I don't know, it's so weird, and all of that is just putting out enough videos, I think. And you know, I'm not showing off. I don't think it's a massive success. But you know, it's that's where it's come from. Just dogged consistency, even if it's really crap. You know, which a lot of these videos are. You know, and a lot of these TikToks of my you know, these bands that I've met or that I've come across. You know, they're not necessarily stellar quality, but it's just that sheer dogged commitment that people just like to see it. And that's the thing. I follow a lot of these smaller bands out on their promotion journey partly because I just want to see how far these guys are willing to go, you know. And you know, but that draws me in, you know. And then I actually start listening to their music, and it's like, you know, fair play. That's actually a really good song. So yeah, that's my real sort of revelation with this. Is just dogged consistency will get you so far. Yeah.